My job today is to present you guys with a top 20 list of Boston crime movies. These movies all take place in the city of Boston, and they highlight the crime underworld that still lives on to this day. With that being said, let me get right into it, starting off with number 20, Live by Night. It's the roaring 20s, and Prohibition has stopped the flow of booze in the underground network of gangster-run speakeasies. The opportunity to gain power and money is still there for many men with enough ambition and nerve. And Joe Coughlin, the son of the Boston police superintendent, long ago turned his back on his strict upbringing for the spoils of being an outlaw. But even among criminals, there are rules, and Joe breaks a big one, crossing a powerful mob boss by stealing his money and mole. Number 19, 21. Ben Campbell, a brilliant student at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, needs some quick cash to pay his tuition bills. He joins a group of students who, under the leadership of unorthodox Professor Mickey Rosa, use their math skills to win big in Las Vegas. Seduced by a beautiful teammate and loads of money, Ben learns that the stakes are higher than he even imagined when he crossed paths with casino enforcer Coyle Williams. Number 18, Monument Ave. Bobby O'Grady is a low-level thug in Charlestown and a member of Jackie O'Hara's gang. Jackie, who requires complete loyalty, arranges a hit on Bobby's cousin Teddy, attracting the attention of Detective Hanlon. Since no one will talk, Hanlon becomes suspicious. Bobby, who finds it more difficult to stay silent, confides in his cousin Seamus. A tragic turn of events forces Bobby to decide his true loyalty. Number 17, The Verdict. Boston lawyer Frank Galvin takes his face out of the shot glass for one last shot at redemption, taking on a medical negligence case against powerful attorney Edward Concannon. Number 16, Blown Away. After staging a particularly gory jailbreak, Irish Republican Army agent Ryan Garrity makes his way to Boston and begins systematically picking off members of the police bomb squad. The leader of this team, Jimmy Dove, is set to retire, but the recent spate of bombings led him to stay on in an attempt to save as many men as possible. It isn't long before he discovers the culprit is his old colleague Garrity, seeking revenge from their shared past. Number 15, Squeeze. Having chosen jobs at a gas station over school, 14-year-old friends Tyson, Hector, and Bayo are getting pushed around by some of the older boys in their Boston neighborhood. Despite the stability provided by their relationship with youth club worker JJ, the boys are tempted by the fast money of the drug trade and touched by untimely death. Amid the flurry of mixed messages, the boys must decide which paths to follow. Number 14, Patriots Day. Tragedy strikes on April 15th, 2013, when two bombs explode during the Boston Marathon. In the aftermath of the attack, Police Sergeant Thomas Sanders, FBI Agent Richard Deslaries, and Commissioner Ed Davis join courageous survivors and first responders and other investigators in a race against the clock to hunt down the suspects and bring them to justice. Number 13, Black Mass. While his brother Bill remains a powerful leader in the Massachusetts Senate, Irish hoodlum James Whitey Bulger continues to pursue a life of crime in 1970s Boston. Approached by FBI agent John Conley, the lawman convinces Whitey to help the agency fight the Italian mob. As their unholy alliance spirals out of control, Bulger increases his power and evades capture to become one of the most dangerous gangsters in US history. Number 12, Edge of Darkness. When the only daughter of Boston homicide detective Thomas Cravens is shot on his doorstep, everyone assumes that he was the intended target. Then evidence suggests otherwise, and Craven sets out to find the killer and, in the process, uncovers her secret life, corporate cover-ups, government collusions, and murder. Number 11. The Friends of Eddie Coyle. Aging Boston gunrunner Eddie Coyle is looking at several years of jail time for a holdup if he doesn't funnel information to Dave Foyle, an ATF agent. Eddie buys some guns from another gunrunner, Jackie Brown, then gives him up to Foyle. But the agent isn't satisfied. Conflicted, Eddie decides to also give up the gang of bank robbers he's been supplying, only to find out that Foyle already knows about them, and the mob believes Eddie snitched. Number 10. The Thomas Crown Affair. Bored millionaire Thomas Crown concocts and executes a brilliant scheme to rob a bank without having to do any of the work himself. When Vicky Anderson, an investigator for the bank's insurance company, takes an interest in Crown, the two begin a complicated cat-and-mouse game with a romantic undertone. In an attempt to decipher Anderson's agenda, Crown devises another robbery like his first, wondering if he can get away with the same crime twice. Number 9. Blue Hill Avenue. Four friends enter the drug trade in Boston in the late 1970s. Tristan, Money, E-Bone, and Simone, with the consent of a South Boston crime boss, Benny, they quickly rise in the drug game, while the leader of the group, Tristan, keeps his double life secret from his clueless parents. However, as the 1970s pass to the 2000s, a police investigator threatens to ignite a violent feud among the tight-knit friends. Number 8. Killing Them Softly. When rival crook Johnny Amato hatches a plan to rob a card game run by mob lackey Marky, he picks a low-rent thug named Frankie to do the job. Frankie picks a less-than-ideal partner to help him, but despite their combined incompetence, they manage to make off with the mob's money. In retaliation, Marky's bosses hire Jackie Cogan, a mob enforcer, to eradicate those responsible. Number 7. The Boston Strangler. When a string of women in Boston start turning up dead, the police launch an investigation headed by John Bottomley. Through chance, Bottomley gets the evidence he needs to arrest John Salvove. Though John Salvove denies having any connection to the murders at first, the police use hypnosis, pressured investigation, and interviews with the only surviving victim to coax him into confessing. Still, whether he's truly guilty remains a mystery to many. Number 6. Mystic River. When the daughter of ex-con Jimmy Marcus is murdered, two of his childhood friends from the neighborhood are involved. Dave, a blue-collar worker, was the last person to see her alive, while Sean, a homicide detective, is headed up the case. As Sean proceeds with his investigation, Jimmy conducts one of his own through neighborhood contacts. Eventually, Jimmy suspects Dave is the culprit and considers taking the law into his own hands. Number 5. Gone Baby Gone. In a tough Boston suburb, private detective Patrick Kenzie is hired to trace the missing daughter of Helene McCurdy. Police Chief Doyle doesn't think Patrick has a chance as she's been missing for 76 hours already. Patrick recognizes the threat from molester Corwin Early and Haitian gangster Cheese, but in a neighborhood where he's lived all his life, the real danger may be closer to home. Number 4. The Town. Doug McRae leads a band of ruthless bank robbers and has no real attachments except for James, who, despite his dangerous temper, is like a brother. Everything changes for Doug when James briefly takes a hostage, bank employee Claire Kesey. Learning that she lives in the gang's neighborhood, Doug seeks her out to discover what she knows, and he falls in love. As the romance deepens, he wants out of the criminal life, but that could threaten Claire. Before I get into the top 3, I wanted to give a few honorable mentions, starting off with By the Gun. Next we have What Doesn't Kill You. Next we have Selfie. Number 3. Spotlight. In 2001, editor Marty Baron of the Boston Globe assigns a team of journalists to investigate allegations against John Gagan, an unfrocked priest accused of molesting more than 80 boys. Led by editor Walter Robbie Robinson, reporters John Resent, Matt Carroll, and Sasha Pfeiffer interview victims and try to unseal sensitive documents. The reporters make it their mission to provide proof of the cover-up of sexual abuse within the Roman Catholic Church. Number 2. The Boondock Saints. Tired of the crime overrunning the streets of Boston, Irish Catholic twin brothers Connor and Murphy are inspired by their faith to cleanse their hometown of evil with their own brand of zealous vigilante justice. As they hunt down and kill one notorious gangster after another, they become controversial folk heroes in the community. But Paul Smirks, an eccentric FBI agent, is fast closing in on their blood-soaked trail. Alright, well, if you have made it this far, hit that like button. With that being said, if you want to see more similar content, go hit that subscribe button. I also do weed education, strain reviews, top 10, top 25 movies, MMA/boxing content, and much more. I guarantee if you check my channel, you will not be bored. With that being said, I appreciate you watching this. Let's get into number 1. Number 1. The Departed. South Boston cop Billy Costigan goes undercover to infiltrate the organization of gangland chief Frank Costello. As Billy gains the mobster's trust, a career criminal named Colin Sullivan infiltrates the police department and reports on its activities to his syndicate boss. When both organizations learn they have a mole in their midst, Billy and Colin must figure out each other's identities to save their own lives.